Okay, so we're continuing with the last chapter, Parak Chamishin, in the third section of Derech HaShem, and this is called Behevdel Kol HaNeviim and Moshe Rabbeinu L'Vashon. So the difference between other prophets and Moshe Rabbeinu. So let's jump into the text. Hinei Madregos and Nevuah Derech Klalis Chalik L'Shtayim. The levels of Nevuah in general is divided into two. Ha'achas, one, Madregos Kol HaNeviim Chutz Me Moshe Rabbeinu L'Vashon. The level of all prophets besides Moshe Rabbeinu. Vashniya, and the second is Madregas Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Hashalom, the level of Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Hashalom. So just pointing out, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but when you're talking about levels, right, Madrega, which means levels, levels means that they are on the same, what's the word, on the same,
the
same category. They're in the same category, just one is a lower level, one is a higher level, but they're in the same
So there's
cohort.
Moshe Rabbeinu, there's everybody else, and the difference within everybody else, Joe and Shmo and Moshe and Reuven, is totally irrelevant compared to the level.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. That could be true also, but that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say that when you use the word Madrega, that means Reuven is on a higher Madrega than Shimon. So let's say by wealth. Okay, so this guy is a millionaire, this guy's a billionaire, but we're still talking about same currency, right? Right? Mashenkin, there's a lotion of the Rambam that's I don't remember if it's in the beginning of Sanhedrin somewhere, but there's lotion of the Rambam that I saw that said that there's no comparison between Moshe Rabbeinu and other prophets. It's like a whole different being. Moshe Rabbeinu is a whole different being. So it could be he just wanted to be more dramatic, and I don't know. But just pointing out that the word Madrega to me sounds like they're all the same. They're really all the same. They're all prophets. Just some are. Moshe Rabbeinu is much, much higher. All the other prophets are much, much lower. But they're all in the same boat. Okay? Fine. So, V'HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'atzmo chilkom b'chiluk zeh, and this division was made by HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. Ubeir Hevdelim, and Hashem himself explained their difference. HaKosov, as it is written, Im yen v'yachem, if there would be your prophets, right? The other prophets are called your prophets. Hashem, b'mareh elo v'svada, in vision I will be known to him, right? Etc., etc. Loikein avdi Moshe. Not so, my servant Moshe. Right? So we got your prophets versus my servant. Okay? All right? Your prophets versus my servant. Your prophets versus my servant. Okay? Let's just keep that in mind. Okay, let's move on. Base. Klal kol hanevim chutz Moshe. So the general principle by all the prophets except for Moshe, nevuosam al yedei mara v'chaloim. Their prophecy is through a vision and a dream. K'moshe kosov, as it is written, b'mareh elov esvado b'chaloim adaber boy. In a vision I will be known to him. In a dream I will speak to him. Okay. Good. V'hainu, that means HaKadosh Baruch Hu mishamesh min hachaloim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu uses the concept of dream, the phenomenon called dream, hachoku kvar b'tivom shel bnei adam, which is already established within nature of mankind, liyos lehem le'emtsoye, and to use it as a medium, lahamshich al yodoi hanevuah le'odam, in order to bring down to that person the prophecy for that novi, for that prophet. Not to say, and I remember we did this paragraph before, I remember these words already. Not to say that prophecy and dreams are the same type, right? They're from the same category. Rather that a dream is a thing that is hagun before Hashem, before the wisdom of Hashem, that it should serve as a medium in order to bring down the nevuah via that dream. Okay, do you let me just do you understand what he's saying? I'm not sure if I understand what he's saying. And our sages did not only said that a vision, that a dream is 1/60th of prophecy. And the only reason why they said that is because it has some kind of a revelation. You could see visions, you could see things in a dream, which is different from the information that a person receives in the regular waking kind of analysis kind of statement, which is as we said above. So I have no idea what he's saying. Do you have any clue? I'm not really sure what he's saying here. So he's saying
in English here that they're not really the two are not really the same, but both are used to convey some sort of a message. And that's the kind of message that a person would not be able to attain on his own by common knowledge, common sense, and reason. And
that's the latter. That's the second part. Okay, that's the second part.
Right.
But the first part, he says, they're not in the same category, but it says God's wisdom merely deemed that a dream should be an adequate vehicle for prophecy. So a dream is a vehicle for prophecy, or is not vehicle for prophecy.
He's saying that not every dream is a prophetic dream. Sometimes dreams are dreams, brain function.
So what is he trying to tell us, that they're not the same?
I think that dream can be used for prophecy, but don't take every dream as it definitely was a prophecy. Sometimes a cigar is a cigar.
But what does he mean? He's not. Doesn't seem like he's saying that. He seems to be saying more than that, because he says that does not mean, however, that a dream and a prophetic vision are in the same category. What does it mean in the same category? Doesn't that mean? I mean, obvious.
Right, so there's dreams, there's prophetic visions that are on a higher level than the dream, a more vivid dream, more Moshe Rabbeinu's experience. This is totally different from a dream.
The prophecy can come in form of a dream, but it's not the same. It can be that form, but it's not. In reverse order, is what I'm saying. That not every dream is a prophecy, but some prophecies can be a dream. It can come as a dream.
I don't see it. That's at least that to me seems like a very obvious, useless piece of information. I don't think so. It doesn't seem to me like he seems to be saying more of that, because I don't know how he understood what a dream is. I don't know how I understand what a dream is. Does anybody know what a dream is?
No,
What? I don't know anything about dreams. Does anybody know what is a dream?
It's called with psychology, but
is it different? Is it something unique? I'm saying we call it a dream because we're sleeping and we're seeing visions, but is there something different that's happening in our mind?
I think happening also times. It's not every time you realize you remember it. Just you wake up, you have no recollection.
Right.
You wake up, remember something. So,
but is it any different than our imagination? Meaning, is it just random snapping of neurons and thinking thoughts?
Could be.
No, imagination is probably more controlled.
Well, what's more controlled? The dream
Imagination.
Imagination is more controlled, right? So a dream is more random. That's what I'm saying. So is it just random snapping of neurons creating random thoughts? Or is there more to it than that?
Sometimes it sounds like sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. It's like dream is just a vehicle.
So that's how we understand it.
Right,
I'm not sure if that's how the Ramchal understood it. I'm not sure how the Ramchal understood what a dream is.
It's a vehicle for delivery of prophetic information. Sometimes the vehicle is used. It's like a message bus. There's noise going over the
I'm
message
not.
bus.
Again, I'm not.
There's a packet
That's
of
the
useful
latter
information.
part. But if I remember correctly from the previous chapters, right? He told us what exactly is nevuah. What is prophecy?
Mm-hmm.
Prophecy really is dveikus. Prophecy is really kind of allowing for more godliness to enter your physical body. Correct?
Mhm.
So what is the dream? I'm sorry. What is the dream aspect of it? That I'm not sure what it means. Maybe what's it mean by vehicle? I don't know. He says emtsoi. Emtsoi means that.
I know. So you're turning your radio into a certain channel.
No, but so he just said. So if I were him, I would say, you know what? A prophecy is message from God given to you in a dream. Are they? Do I have to then tell you that they're not the same? They are the same. Just one is from God, one is not
But
from
Moshe
God.
Rabbeinu didn't have dreams.
Yeah, that's what makes them different.
What?
That's what makes
But that's not what he's saying. He seems to be that they're. It seems to me that he's saying that they're fundamentally different things, and yet he's also saying that the dream is emtsoi, is a medium, right? Is a vehicle or a medium for prophecy. So I'm not sure. Okay.
He says your man's natural power to dream. This is natural power. It's natural for a person to dream. Sometimes the Creator manipulates that power and sends an email.
Okay. I'm not sure. Okay, let's continue. I'll be able to clear up. Okay, Gimel. V'hinei be'izgaber shefa hanevu al hanovi. When the influence, right, the flow of prophecy strengthens and overpowers the Navi. Yetze mehargashoisav, right? He leaves his senses, v'chushav, and senses. Different words for senses, right? Feelings and senses. V'yishtaka k'moy b'shena. Okay, and he kind of loses consciousness, as if he's sleeping, like in a sleep, like a deep slumber. And so his thought is like a thought of one who sleeps, and a dreamer. And then the nevuah is brought down to him. But however, it could also that this thing will come to him at the waking state. In the way that we've mentioned. Or it could be that he will be already sleeping and dreaming. Meaning sometimes he will just be in a waking state and then boom.
Right, happens a lot.
Knocked out. Gets prophecy. Or sometimes he's already sleeping and he receives a vision. And the nevuah comes down to him. Still no. A prophecy cannot reach him unless he is outside of his senses. Right? So again, I'm just saying, I'm going to point this out now, but I think it would make sense that if prophecy ultimately is attachment to God, right? So your physical self is by definition is limited, it's lowly, it's dark, it's thick, and so by definition it is a impediment to connecting with God. So as much as you can die, so to speak, the more you can die, the more you can connect to God, right? Which is why possibly they died by Har Sinai, right? Because you can't a physical being cannot receive God, so he needs to die. But he needs to be alive, because if he's dead, he also obviously can't receive God. So he needs to be dead and alive at the same time, you know? Okay, so let's see. Okay, good. And he has to be sunk in that tardema, in that slumber, that, what's the word I'm looking for? Not slumber. trance. Amnam efshar sheyikra adover b'miud zman, it could happen in such a small time. V'yoshev teichaf el matzav harishon, it could be just a second. It could be, and because within that second, again, God is not limited. Within that second that you seem to be out in the physical world, maybe 10 hours of transmission took place. Right? So Amnam efshar adover b'miud zman v'yoshev teichaf el matzav harishon, he can immediately return to his original state. El shebe'es hinavoy. But at the time of that prophecy, meaning when he receives the prophecy, he will leave his feelings, and he will sink into this trance for a moment, that he should be able to receive the prophecy. Good. The vision of a prophet is not as the same way that he sees his friend in front of him. It's as if he sees him through an aspaklaria. So what's an aspaklaria? So it translates over here as a lens. Okay, so a lens, a prism. Okay. Not only one, not one lens, not one prism. Okay, and so the image is transmitted from one to the other and to the other. Now the thing that he is seeing, meaning what's behind the lens, there's only one thing, there's only one vision behind the lens, right? There's only one vision behind the lens, but it's transmitted through many different...
I think he used the same expression, specularity, when he spoke about the midas of Hashem being revealed. It's the same thing as what we understand out of the Yudke, Vavke, and all these other names, and what the Rachamim and the Din. I think so.
Yeah,
there was this whole aspect of lens, one lens on top of another, and basically it's the light of him that gets passed through a bunch of lenses. So when it gets in our domain here, we see it as din, but
Okay, let's hold that thought. Let me look a little bit. That'll be interesting. Okay, so nearest Mr. Okay, fine. So when the thing that is visioned is one, utnu oisov, and its movements, it's also one. I don't know what the movements have to do here, but okay. So v'nirois mitoch aspaklarios afal pishein mabitim elov be'oirach mishar. No. Right. Achaniruhu echad vada, again, the thing that he's being seen as one. Utnois of an old motions, whatever that means. Nirois mitochas paklarios afal pishein mabitin elov be'oirach mishon. They're not looking necessarily in a straight path, right? V'lo oidel shein riyosam ela kamish roy mitochas paklaria bilti mitzuchtzachas. It's also possible that they're looking at shein riyosam ela kamish roy mitochas paklaria bilti mitzuchtzachas, that is not so clean. So not only there are many aspaklarias, but it's possible that each aspaklaria also has a matte finish, a matte cover. So you're seeing a blurred, possibly distorted vision.
Like a stained glass. Right.
So too, it's impossible for them to see the true kavod, the true glory of God. They cannot see it clearly. Even though really what they are perceiving is glory of God. So what they are perceiving is the glory of God. They're just perceiving it through so many lenses and so many distortions that they're not seeing the true glory of God, but they are seeing the true glory of God, but they don't really see. They're not seeing the true glory of God. Vein b'zeh sofek etzlom klaus, but they know, there's no doubt, they understand, they can extrapolate and they can figure out that they're seeing the true glory of God. V'gam b'chol zeh yesh madregos rabbis. So even in that level, there are still many levels. V'hevdel bein novi l'novi, and many differences between each and every prophet. She'esh aspaklaria shlo mitzuchtzachas mishal chaveiro, because sometimes one novi can have an aspaklaria that is more clear and more clean than his friend. Umasik bi yoiser berer, and so therefore he sees a more clear picture. V'ulam hanofi hamasik kol zeh. Now, but the truth is, the nofi that does receive all of this, masik ha'inyan la'amito, he does understand and grasp the matter in its truth. He understands, it's clear to him that what is being revealed to him is God's essence, is God himself. Okay? He also understands the true nature of his aspaklaria. Right, so he understands his own. Right, so I think that goes back to this idea that a novi has to have a very, very clear of self-understanding. Right, so he understands his own level. He understands what the aspaklaria is. Right, so it's like I'm assuming again. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming. Let's say if you are given an image of something, and they were told that this image was transformed in a certain way, mathematically, let's say it was, increased by 1.5 magnification point, moved, 10 points to the right and moved 10 points up, and then whatever, some other transformation, whatever. If you do the math yourself, and you could figure out what was the original image before all the transformations, right? So same thing over here. Since they know that what the original image was the image of God, quote unquote image, right? And then they know how many different lenses, and what kind of lenses and what they received, and they can reverse engineer, so to speak, the original image, the original glory of God. And so he understands the haskolos, the enlightenment, the ideas that are flowed down to him. Be'emes u'beberu, in truth and in clarity, k'mo shezachanu lanu perek hashlishi. Ve'amnam k'moi she'isvad ha'kovod elov hu al yedei kach kol ha'teikei hatzir ha'ele. So similarly, that the kovod was revealed to him in all of these filters, right? Through these steps. Kein hayidiyois hamagiyois loy heim al yedei chidois u'misholim. So too, the information that comes to him is received in chidois u'misholim, in allegory and moshel, and parables. Right?
It doesn't just come in as
meaning, so he's the way he understands, and this is really beautiful actually, is that the vision, the fact that a novi receives his information, I don't want to say information, but his enlightenment, let's call it his enlightenment, through various aspaklarias, right? That is the reason why he receives the vision in an allegorical form. That's the, two sides of the same coin, right? Two sides of the same coin. Meaning, I don't know how to say, but the distance, prevents me from speaking very directly about a certain matter to you. I need to hint to you as a result, right? And then you will get what I'm talking about, right? Meaning, what will be a good example?
When Yarik and I communicate long distance over here.
Right, no, but let's say, right, again, let's use our new Shabbos Giret. I don't know if that's the right example, but right? But because the matter that we're discussing, let's say if I want to discuss for non-Shabbos matter on Shabbos, I shouldn't do that anyways, but let's say I want to discuss a non-Shabbos matter on Shabbos, right? So I'm going to use sort of right, incomplete sentences or some sort of allegories and some sort of chidus, because I can't directly broach the subject, because the subject right now is not here.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's something along those lines. So because the Navi has a distance, right? So the Navi cannot perceive the glory of God in its
true
original form. So therefore, he receives the image of God in a certain distortion. So too, the description will also come in a certain distortion, because allegory is a distortion.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, and this is what I want to point out also, is that on the other hand, the distortion allows for more clarity. I don't know how to say this properly, but in a case of when you are already in a distanced state, speaking directly about a certain object will create more distortion than speaking allegorically about it. Because when you speak allegorically about it, then your brain starts turning to the thing to the meaning of the word, and then you kind of grasp the meaning in a more nuanced way that you wouldn't be able to grab, because in this particular environment, I cannot use direct, because the direct terms will actually ruin this communication.
Sort of like a talented poet describes something in very beautiful terms.
Right. I have to use poetry, because if I speak very directly and clearly, it will just kill the whole message. It will not going to be more clear. Just the opposite. It will be more unclear, because I'm not using the right tools. Right. I have to be poetic. The poetry is going to bring it out more.
Only received rationally. You has panic or something, just miss point completely.
If what?
If you directly though.
If you're too direct and when you're not supposed to be. No, but the other version,
No,
you have the problem.
The receiver may just panic, all of it's all over. But when it's not so bad, you're thinking about it, text, figure out.
Right.
You prepare yourself.
I mean, it could go the other way around also, right? When you're speaking allegorically, you're also creating opportunity for misinterpretation.
But this time you have a clear other.
I'm not sure. So I mean, this is where this kind of what we spoke about in previous times, where the self-honesty of the Navi and the experience of the Navi and the humility of the Navi is going to play a key feature, where he needs to be able to be careful about not to misinterpret the interpretation. I mean, so with experience, it seems like Hashem gives him the right interpretation into his head. Okay, I don't know. Okay, moving on. Yeah. What's the time? It's like past midnight. No. Okay. Oh, we finished. We finished down. No. I'm in the middle. All right, over there. Fine. Right. So that's what we're saying. We're saying so. Very interesting thing that he says that because. So Amnam Kamoishi Yisvada Akova they love who they call it okay Tzira. Since Hashem is revealed to this prophet through all of these steps, right? So many steps removed. So to the knowledge, the information, the enlightenment that comes to him, is received through allegory and parable. So Derech HaShem, and now he adds over here Derech HaShem, in the way of a dream, which is the medium through which prophecy can reach. So So again, I'm not sure why he throws dream. What does he want with the dream in here? So what was it? Again, with Derech HaShem, in a way of a dream, because that is the medium through which prophecy is received.
It comes in as a strange dream.
But how does it? Good, he already told me that. Why is he bringing it here? How does it relate to this particular point? Again, I'm not sure. So I would have thought there are two aspects of a dream that I see in a dream. There's one aspect of a dream is that your consciousness becomes more dormant, right? Your discipline, your self-control becomes more dormant, like your mind becomes more free, right? Free associations, so to speak. Your mind becomes more free on one hand. So there's this aspect of my physical body kind of removing its own barriers. That's one aspect of a dream. There's another aspect of a dream that it's very imaginative, right? So there's a wider range of, let's say, of imagery that's accessible to me when I'm dreaming, right? So those are the two aspects of a dream. So at first I thought if I were writing about prophecy, I would say, you know why Hashem has to appear to a prophet in a dream? Because that's the only way his mind already started getting loose, removing its own limitations. So Hashem helps him, and that's when he can, receive the image. That's what I would have focused on. It seems to me now that he's focusing on the other aspect of it, really of the greater ability of imagination that's available in a dream state. Like we need, I'm not sure, maybe I'm wrong again, but he seems to be connecting it. What I see is this connection to chidos u'misholim, to allegory and parables, that he's, that's what I see it.
Also, it's possible that a person on a high level is capable of obtaining through the trance, but not a regular Joe. At some point, he has to get his prophecy. Like he's never prepared. His brain, his mind, never up to level. Dream is the perfect time to get to him. But someone learning to be a prophet. So at least he's trying to be trying to be on the level. So trance comes on him. He prophesies. Then the Joe that never prepared himself.
Well, who says that such a thing is possible?
The father got it in the dream, prophecy in the dream. So
is that prophecy?
Well, he wasn't able to interpret it himself, but it was.
Who says it? Again, prophecy does not, in my view, prophecy is not, the way he defined it, prophecy is not just revelation of some ideas to a person. That's just, it could be a dream. Or that could be just, but prophecy specifically is connecting to the divine. It's a different experience than just Hashem wants you to know meaning according to I could be wrong, but meaning the difference in Paroi is Paroi's dreams and receiving a paper from Hashem with what's the future is going to hold. That's not prophecy necessarily. Prophecy is specifically disconnecting from the physical world in order to attach yourself to the divine.
So through the dream, you can do it without any prior preparation, and that one requires some.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Either way, I think it requires. But the dream, again, you're focusing. I think what you're focusing is this part of the dream. That's what I would have focused also, of the disconnecting from your physical reality.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm saying from this sentence, it seems to me that is not the feature of the dream that he's focusing on, because he's connecting it more to the aspect of allegory, not the disconnecting from reality feature. So that's why I'm saying from the beginning, I don't know how he defines what a dream is. Maybe he had a different definition than we have.
But he also said different prophets, different levels, truth, different quality of lens. One's more clear, one's less clear.
Right.
So there's no difference again. Okay, so dream has more options. Your imagination was better, but you can have the same clarity if you're really good prophet without dream. But
No, you're saying that's also a dream. That's just an advanced dream, perhaps. Perhaps. I mean, I don't know. That's why I never understood that paragraph to begin with. Like, what does he want from that paragraph? All right, let's see a little bit of hay over here. Now, so that was the other prophets. Okay, so the other prophets, the key feature from the other prophets is the distance and the allegory, right?
yeah.
Okay, now let's see what about Ach Nevuoso Shel Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Shalom. He b'derech yoser elyon mikol zeh. Is is a b'derech in a way that is more loftier than this, more lofty than this. So again, it seems like this idea that they're really Moshe Rabbeinu is on the same level, just on a higher level, just on a loftier level. V'hu, and that is, what is it Moshe Rabbeinu's? L'rishoina, the first thing is shelo haya tzorich lotzeis mechushov v'hargoisha. Okay, stop. 1 second. Stop. Now that he told you this, all right. Okay, I already gave it away. But right, so he told us really three things. So I said two things, but it's really three things. It's dream, or not dream. Forget, I shouldn't say dream. It's sleep. I'm sorry. Right? Trance, distance, allegory. Trans, distance, allegory, and maybe dream. I don't know where dream fits in, but trans, distance, allegory. Those are the three features of a regular prophet. So it comes, and so now he goes consistent. Moshe is different. Why? Right? He did not need to go out of his sense experience. He did not need to go into a dream state. The nevuah would come to him when he was still in his regular constant matzav. And this is what this pasuk means by that when he says pe'el pe'el dabel boy, mouth to mouth, for face to face I speak to him. Right? So the pe'el pe'el dabel boy, according to the Ramchal, means without falling asleep. Now, again, if I were ask you, okay, well, he just told us three features about Moshe Rabbeinu and other prophets, right? He told us from other prophets, but we can, right? What are the three features? Don't fall asleep, right? Or fall asleep, right? Distance because of a spaklaria, and allegory because of distance, right? So Moshe Rabbeinu did not have to fall asleep. And the pasuk for that would be Pe'el Pe'el Daber Boy. Now if you ask me, the Pe'el Pe'el Daber Boy, face to face to speak to him, should be the differentiate between the aspaklaria aspect, the lenses. Pe'el Pe'el Daber Boy, I don't have to speak to Moshe Rabbeinu through the lenses. Right? But it's not what he's doing. He's not bringing Pe'el Pe'el Daber Boy as a proof for the lack of lenses. He uses Pe'el Pe'el Daber Boy as a proof for the lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Right? You don't find that strange? Hear my question?
It's the same thing. See, to sleep, you have to come back from trance, you have to figure out what happened and explain. What should you have to explain? You just had you ask the answer. There's no explanation. There's normal conversation.
Okay.
So there's no lenses. Because there's no sleep, there's no lenses. So
it's the same thing. You're saying all three is really part of the same thing.
yeah, because that's what it is. If you take in the third person, there is no lenses, there is no sleep, there is closeness. It covers all three.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Well, let's see if he brings more psukim. Right. So again, so Pe'el Pe'el Daber Boy v'zeu shnemer Pe'el Pe'el Daber Boy. I speak to him directly. Right. So that means there's no sleep. V'hoya mizgal loy ha'inyan k'mishroi metoch aspaklaria achas bilvad. And the matter was revealed to him as if somebody who sees us through only one lens. Okay, so at least one lens there had to be. And it was a very clear lens. And so too the knowledge was reaching to him in clarity, and not through allegory. And on the third thing he brings, umara v'loy b'chidos, a vision, and not through allegory. It's not really. So there are three psukim for three things. Pel daber boy is no sleep. Umara means direct vision, no aspaklarios, or only one aspaklaria, right? V'loy b'chidos is without allegory. Okay. V'ulam gam loy hoyo hakoved nisgala, and so to him also the honor was revealed, kifi ma she'efsher loy lekabel, as much as possible for him to receive. Ukemishi diyoyknoi mitztayer b'soich amara, and it's as if this person's picture was revealed in a mara, in a mirror. Yeah, image formed in a mirror. Mara is a mirror. Because without that, there's no way for a human to grasp the Creator. But it was in the way that he was able to receive the entire tzir, the entire depiction, and with clarity. As if he sees through one lens that is so clear, there is no ikuv, there is no impediment to the vision. And now he brings another pasuk, utmunas Hashem yabit, and he saw the image of God, the picture of God. Because that image that was revealed, hatmuna, which is the photograph, so to speak, right? Hoya mabit oisoy yofe yofe. He was able to see it very yofe yofe. Mashe einam came hashar neviim, which is not the same with other prophets. Even that image which they received, they were not able to really grasp it perfectly. But from the image that they were getting, they would still get an enlightenment, a great clear enlightenment, right? Oh no, I didn't write that right. I didn't write that. Read that wrong. So it's going back on Moshe now. I thought, okay, now from the image that Moshe was receiving, okay, so what did we get today? Okay, so what did we get today? A little bit of a clarity and a little bit of unclarity. So the main distance between Moshe Rabbeinu 1 and Shar Nevi'im are really in the same category according to the Ramchal. They are, prophecy is prophecy. Okay? Prophecy is prophecy. Both cases of prophecy is revelation of God's glory. In both cases, it's revelations of God's glory. Just for regular prophet, it is through various lenses, and then they are so blurry that you kind of that behind that lens is I don't know, whoever you want to see. Let's pick Trump. Okay, we'll have to. Right, there's you get to look behind many glasses, but that there's Trump, and you could see a big orange blob, okay, a big orange blob with the red tie or stuff. So you're seeing, you know what you're seeing, based on right. You understand what you're seeing. So that's a regular Navi. While Moshe Rabbeinu sees as much as humanly possibly to see God's essence in this one one, whatever that one, we say right? He only missing a little bit from God, right? Whatever as close to godliness as humanly possible, that's what Moshe Rabbeinu. So he saw the Tmunas Hashem Yabed, he saw the entire image of Hashem, right? So and as a result, he got direct, and that's V'loi b'chidos, and again, Pe'el Peh, speak to him mouth to mouth. So that's so I think Pe'el Peh, because meaning if it would have said panim b'panim, which is a different pasuk, right? Panim b'panim, I think would be to exclude the aspaklarias, but Pe'el Peh means mouth to mouth. That means we speak to each other in a waking state, like a person talks to a person. Meaning I talk to him, he talks to me. Pe'el Peh. He talks. It's a conversation. It's a two-way conversation. Two-way conversation means somebody's awake. If it's a one-way conversation, right? So it's the second Peh, so to speak. That tells us that Moshe was awake, because by other prophets it says, right, b'mareh elov esvada, I become known to him in a vision. So yeah, I throw some information his way, but that's not a conversation. It's a one-way conversation. By other prophets, it's a one-way conversation. By Moshe Rabbeinu, it's a two-way conversation. And that's how we know that he's awake. Okay? And b'mareh v'lo b'chidos tells us that it's not an allegory, and Tmunas Hashem Yabed tells us that it is not a multiple dirty aspaklarius. It's one single aspaklarius. So those are the three psukim. So again, I don't have time now, but we would like to really go back and compare the differences of Ramchal and the differences of the Rambam between, right? Because one difference that jumps out at me, that the Rambam says that Shar Nevi'im received their prophecy through a malach. And you don't see any of that in the Ramchal, no?
Why malach can be one of those prisms?
All right, okay. So then we would have to answer. We'd have to come up with some kind of an answer. Is that what the Rambam means? That the prisms are malachim? Or there's, I don't know. I don't know what the Rambam. So, or it's still a question. So why didn't the Ramchal elaborate on the malach aspect? Clearly, Ramchal knew the Rambam, right? So why didn't he elaborate on this malach aspect? And there are four differences in the Rambam.
Well, from Nevi'im, we know that sometimes prophecy comes as conversation, like in case of not Eli.
Shmuel?
Yeah, Shmuel. She was talking back and forth to the malach. Then she realized it was a malach.
Who? Eishes Manoach, you mean?
No,
Shimshon's mother?
no, she was also, yeah. She was talking, so it had to be conversation, so obviously she couldn't be in the sleep mode also.
Mm-hmm.
So
is that prophecy? I'm not sure.
Well, he told exactly this. Don't grow up.
Again, I'm going to repeat myself. Revelation of future is not prophecy.
I know, but this is easiest.
Revelation of future is not prophecy, according to the Ramchal's definition.
Yeah, but it's easy.
Prophecy has to mean you have to be in the Tardema. That's what he said. You have to be in a state that you're connecting with the divine. If you're not connecting with the divine directly, it's not prophecy. It's revelation. Okay, so Hashem sent you a malach. Hashem sent you a malach to tell you something. Okay. Hashem sent you a Eliyahu Hanavi I don't know if that's prophecy. Which is maybe why, the Rambam, when according to our Rambam, when Avram Avinu met with the three malachim, that was a dream. So, there was never, according to the Rambam, the whole thing was virtual. It was on Zoom.
But it was double, because Sarah also heard saying, so
That's a question.
Abraham was dreaming about her hearing something, and she's actually
So
laughing.
that's a good question. And a lot of these questions are unanswered. It's not clear. It's I don't know. The Rambam's view is extremely bizarre.
No, without Sarah, I would consider it. But come on, have two stories.
They were having in this. They were in the same prophetic state, in the same matrix at the same time.
She was aware of prophecies he's getting from Zion, so laughing with the prophecies, and talking to Hashem, saying, "I was."
What was that inception?
Too complicated.
Okay, shkoyach.